tonight. We're live in Winnipeg at the Grey Cup and CFL Awards. Another person is charged in the death of a 19-year-old man. And a rural community is fighting for better health care.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. While the Grey Cup is the ultimate prize for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, one of the team's most popular players has a chance to take home some individual hardware tonight at the CFL Awards. With more, we go live to Donovan Mays, who joins us live from Winnipeg. And Donovan, one of the unsung heroes, a lineman, could win big tonight.
Yeah, and you're talking about big. Jamarcus Hardrick is a big guy, and he was a cornerstone on that Riders offensive line, and rightfully so that he's been able to receive this recognition as the West Division nominee for most outstanding offensive lineman. The offensive line for the Riders was one of the best in the league. A.J. Ouellette was the second best rusher in the league, helped in part because of that offensive line. So Hardrick up for that award this evening. But let's focus on the defensive side of the ball, where A.J. Allen, so he had a standout year for Saskatchewan this season, but his teammates feel that the recognition that he's received so far just hasn't been enough, and he deserves a little more.
If there's one thing A.J. Allen doesn't like talking about, it's himself.
You had such a good year. Just what was the key to that success?
My teammates.
Allen's journey to the Grey Cup hasn't been easy. The linebacker starting this season, taking the majority of his reps on special teams.
I've been ready for the opportunity for a while now. It actually worked out for me this time. So it was the same mindset of be prepared when that opportunity comes and be available when it is there.
But early season injuries giving him an opportunity to start on defense.
Over the middle, intercepted, taken away at midfield. A.J. Allen has it.
Where the Burlington, Ontario product broke through.
Rourke takes off. No! Stopped.
Finishing the regular season as the Riders' leading tackler with 91, adding 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, and forced 3 fumbles.
If you keep trying to prove other people wrong, you're going to live a very long life, because they're always going to have something to say. So I've been trying to prove myself right ever since.
His excellent play earning him Saskatchewan's nomination for Most Outstanding Canadian, but he was outvoted as the West Division nominee by Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke, something teammates feel was unjust. Fellow linebacker Jameer Thurman taking to X, saying it's time for CFL fans and media to give Allen the respect he deserves, adding he put in the work, waited for his opportunity, and has excelled at a high level.
It means a lot that guys like Thurman and C.J. Revis out there, even tweeting about it. These guys don't tweet. They're even tweeting about it, man. They got so much love for me. They're using an app they don't use.
And his coach has taken notice as well.
He's had a hell of a season, and I wouldn't be shocked if one day we're talking about him as a defensive player of the year or whatnot, or most outstanding Canadian. He's got the talent to do so.
Probably wondering what about Corey Mace? What about the head coach? He's up for an award tonight, and yes, he is up for an award. He's been nominated for Coach of the Year. However, tonight the CFL solely focusing on the player awards, wanting to give all the players the recognition that they deserve. The team and staff awards, like Coach of the Year, will be handed out at a later date at other events. So, as for Mace's team on the field, couple practice updates for you. Keyshawn Johnson not at practice again today, still dealing with that knee ailment. May saying that they're just focusing on treatment for Keyshawn, hoping that he can be back in the lineup for Sunday. But Joe Robustelli was back at practice, limited, however, after he cleared concussion protocol today, Lee.
Well, we'll see what happens with the receiving corps. And weird decision on the coach's award, that's for sure. Thanks, Donovan. Donovan Mays reporting live for us tonight, and he'll be there all week for our Rider coverage. And you don't want to change the channel. We have the Grey Cup game right here on CTV. The pregame show is going to start at noon Saskatchewan time, with kickoff set for just after 5 p.m.
Road to the Cup, brought to you by Regina Plumbing and Heating, official partner of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Sabine, we've been hearing a lot about how the Grey Cup weather is going to be really nice in Winnipeg for the game. But what about here in Saskatchewan? What are we seeing for the next couple days?
More of what we saw today, Lee. We're going to continue to see above seasonal temperatures, above zero temperatures, and more sunshine, except for tomorrow. But we can still continue to expect to see these above seasonal temperatures heading into the weekend. So if you are planning on taking a quick little weekend road trip to Winnipeg, you've got great driving conditions ahead. Now, beginning of next week, that will change, and I'll talk more about that in your full forecast. But we can start to see the clouds rolling in over the last couple of hours, and that is due to a low-pressure system that's bringing some heavy snow further north. In the northeast, expecting some heavy snowfall. They are under a heavy snowfall warning. Nothing for central southern Saskatchewan, and as you can see, even just the way the shades of the temperatures are looking, the current temperatures, everything in yellow, very warm. And then as we head further north in the blue, those temperatures get cooler with Stony Rapids at -5. But today here in Regina, we warmed up to about 9 degrees. The average is around 0, and we'll continue to see above seasonal. I'll have more in their full forecast. Lee?
Maple Creek, 18 degrees. Wow, that's warm. A fourth person has been charged in the death of a 19-year-old man earlier this month in Regina. In the early morning hours on November the 1st, police were called to the 1000 block of 12th Avenue, where a 19-year-old man died from a gunshot wound. 43-year-old Dana Delorme has been charged with accessory after the fact to murder. On the weekend, a 16-year-old was charged with second-degree murder. 2 others, 44-year-old Trevor Whitequill and a 17-year-old woman, have also been charged with accessory after the fact. A 15-year-old girl was taken to hospital in critical condition after a multi-vehicle accident in Regina Wednesday afternoon. So we showed you this yesterday. Just before 4 o'clock on the 1300 block of Broadway Avenue, a school bus collided with a car and city bus. Now, the school bus then veered into a parking lot where it hit the 15-year-old girl. The driver of the school bus was taken to hospital for medical assessment as well. Both buses were carrying passengers, but no other injuries were reported. Regina police have charged a 14-year-old boy with public mischief after what police say was a swatting incident. So in a typical swatting incident, police are called under false circumstances that result in the deployment of emergency services teams like the SWAT team to an address. This incident happened in September when police were told a woman was injured in a firearms-related incident at a home in the city's southwest. The tactical support unit was called in. Officers made forcible entry to search the home. A woman suffered minor injuries in the entry as a result. None of the people inside matched the description, and there was no credible threat. Now, a 14-year-old has been charged and is set to appear in court next month. Regina Police Service is hoping to establish more of a presence in a staple of Regina's downtown, the Cornwall Centre. To achieve that, they've opened up an office on the lower level of the mall. Damian Smith was there at today's grand opening and has more.
A new Regina Police Service office is now open in Regina's Cornwall Centre.
The security guards and our downtown safety team have a really strong partnership and working relationship, so I think that this office will just help increase that.
Going forward, security guards won't be the only type of protection inside, with the first hub office in the province as a way to have a stronger police presence in both the mall and the surrounding downtown. A vacant space for 2 years now, the centre brought up the idea of this office to the police last year.
What we saw was gaps in coverage in years prior, historically, because it was taking members of the downtown safety team and the AROs out of the downtown core to have to go and work on the clerical type things, all back over to the police station.
Currently, RPS says 27 officers are dedicated to the downtown area, while the Cornwall Centre uses up to 10 security guards at a time. The existing presence, plus the heavy foot traffic in the mall, making it the ideal place for a satellite office.
I mean, RPS has been tracking especially since the launch of the ARO program. I mean, statistics and data is how we measure that success, and it won't look any different than that for us. And so we'll take the historical data that we have and start to see what that looks like and how the needle shifts, post-opening of this police office.
We know that increased police visibility leads to perceptions of safety increasing. So I think anything that we can do to increase our presence and visibility in downtown, I think will be well received by the community.
The office will be considered a hub where officers can do their work, but police say the main headquarters right down the street is the recommended place to report potential outside crimes. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
There's controversy over planned changes for Regina's downtown street team. 2 people are no longer with the organization, one posting online about their exit from the group. In a statement, the Regina Downtown Business Improvement District, who oversees the street team, said that while they're proud to have helped build the program, it's now grown outside of their mandate. RDBID says it fully supports the appointment of a third party to manage the program and trusts that the City of Regina will find an organization better suited to run the team. Any remaining funding will be transferred to whoever takes over. And in reply to an open letter today, Mayor Chad Bashinsky said the street team will continue to operate status quo in the meantime. A flight from Winnipeg to Saskatoon had to make an unexpected stop in Regina last night.
What we understand is the emergency entailed an engine being out on the aircraft. So with that in mind, we have to enact our emergency response procedures just in case.
The flight landed safely in Regina around 6:45 p.m. within half an hour of declaring an emergency. Some of the passengers were taken to Saskatoon by a bus. Others are being reaccommodated. The affected plane remained on the ground in Regina as of this morning. WestJet confirms the plane landed due to maintenance and all guests and crew deplaned. A rural Saskatchewan community is fighting for restoration of acute care beds in the town. The Oxbow Hospital was converted to a health center in 1993 with 10 beds redesignated for a different type of care. Today, a town representative went to the legislative building asking that the decades-old decision be reversed. Wayne Mantika has more.
It has been over 3 decades since Oxbow lost its acute care beds. Now the town of 1300 has met with the government asking for restoration of acute care.
So I have taken care of many different family members, and those family members, when they get displaced to other facilities, it creates a lot of havoc. And so that's what we want to see at Oxbow, is we want to see our residents being able to stay in Oxbow.
More recently, the government brought the Oxbow and Gainsborough health centers under one administrator. The NDP is concerned about the direction being taken.
Mr. Speaker, Pamela Bartlett from the Oxbow area is here advocating for change in healthcare. This Sask Party government is standing by their decision to have one manager split between 2 facilities 50 kilometers apart. And right now, neither facility has an administrator at all.
The government says fewer healthcare managers is part of a plan.
We're going to continue looking for more administrative savings so that we can have more people on the front line putting patients first, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
As for restoring acute care in Oxbow, the government has responded by letter saying there is no plan to do that. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The City of Regina announced its plan to respond to the upcoming winter weather. More than 130 staff and contractors will use 70 pieces of heavy equipment to follow through with the city's snow clearing plan, which is based on 5 road categories from major roads and routes all the way to small residential streets. A plow of the entire city will only happen when there is a single snowfall of 15 centimeters. City officials say that residents can help out by moving cars during a residential plow or snow route and keeping sidewalks clear.
Over the last number of years, through the budgeting process, the city has increased our annual winter maintenance budget. So I think, if I look back to about 4 years ago, I think we were sitting around 8.7 million, whereas in 2025 we're at 11.9 million. So the city has recognized and City Council has recognized the increased cost of delivering these services, and we've adjusted our budgets accordingly.
New this year, there will be an interactive map on the city's website where residents can track what roads are being cleared and estimated timelines. Saskatchewan's building, energy, and government sectors converged in the Queen City to tackle the province's decarbonization challenge. The first annual Build Green Saskatchewan Conference brought together energy providers, government officials, and First Nation and Métis representatives to explore pathways to emission reduction in the province. The conference focused largely on how to reduce the province's carbon footprint with solutions such as geothermal energy.
And really, if we can make progress in Saskatchewan, we can make progress anywhere in the country. Citizens will understand that we've had football games being cancelled just because of wildfire smokes. These are direct impact that people face, and these are some of the solutions we think we can start to, for problems we can start to find solutions to over the coming years.
Abiola went on to say that the planet is going to be fine, but this conference is about making sure that we have a livable planet in the future. University of Regina has made history welcoming their first Indigenous Chancellor. Former Chief of Cowessess First Nation and local businessman Cadmus DeLorme was inaugurated into his new role as Chancellor. Over the last 15 years, he has held various roles at the U of R, most recently being a part of the Board of Governors. He plans to have a number of significant conversations on a number of topics, including normalizing reconciliation in academia.
I'm very external focused, so I get to focus on alumni, current students, donors, respectable people in this province and country. But internally, I get to sit in those meetings as well, and I can explain things that we need to shift, we need to pivot, because that's what the university is, and that's who we can be, and that's the role I want to play for the next 3 to 6 years.
DeLorme is the 10th Chancellor in the university's history. Nominations are now open for the Regina Citizen of the Year presented by CTV. The award is given each year to an individual who exemplifies excellence in community service and is making a difference in our community. To find out how to nominate someone, guides are available on our website. The deadline to submit your nomination is Friday, December 5th, and it will be announced who the recipient is on New Year's Eve. Still ahead, no Saskatchewan projects were named by the Prime Minister to be fast-tracked today. Plus, the call to release all the Epstein files is gaining momentum amongst U.S. politicians.
Tonight, a Canadian man behind bars because of a W5 investigation now faces 60 charges. But his ex-wife wants to know why police haven't acted on a disturbing drugging incident involving their young daughter.
It's not a coincidence that she was drugged while she was in his care.
W5 reveals the evidence piling up against a man accused of drugging and sexually assaulting more than a dozen women. Tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Big announcement from the Prime Minister today on 6 major projects for fast-tracking. They include mining in Ontario and New Brunswick and power in BC, but nothing here in Saskatchewan. Mike Lecouture has more.
They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies.
The Prime Minister says the transformation is necessary because it's estimated U.S. tariffs and the accompanying uncertainty will cost the Canadian government $50 billion. It's why one of the projects supported by the federal government is a BC liquefied natural gas facility.
Silicim's will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year to new markets.
In addition to that facility, the second round of projects includes a hydroelectric development project in Iqaluit, the Sisson Mine project in New Brunswick, the Crawford Nickel Mine project in northern Ontario, the North Coast Transmission Line in northwestern BC, and the Nouveau Monde Graphite Mine north of Montreal. All of them at various stages of development. And the head of the major projects office says her role will be to speed up the process.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the new federal office is part of the problem.
He's created yet another bureaucracy, a new bureaucratic hurdle for miners and oil and gas enterprises and other resource companies to jump through in order to get anything approved.
While the goal is to make Canada less reliant on trade with the U.S., some researchers say governments need to look beyond the current trade issues.
We need to think about what's going to happen with that land after mining's finished. What post-mining land uses could be secured there.
In addition to the 6 projects, the federal office will implement a strategy to improve infrastructure in an area between BC and Yukon, also known as the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
In a rare news conference, CSIS Director Dan Rogers says spies from China and Russia have a significant interest in the Canadian Arctic.
As was recently highlighted in the media, illicit Russian procurement networks seek to illegally acquire Canadian goods and technologies, which they move to Russia through a complex series of front companies.
Rogers says CSIS is engaging with Indigenous Arctic and Northern people to bring them up to speed. He says CSIS has provided Inuit and territorial governments with information to help them take national security into account as they make decisions about business and research opportunities with foreign companies and investors. The longest government shutdown in American history has finally ended after a record-setting 43 days.
On this vote, the yeas are 222, the nays are 209. The bill is passed.
House of Representatives approved a funding bill that would allow the government to reopen. Hours later, President Trump signed the legislation into law, but the shutdown's impact will linger as airports are still slowly starting to return to normal. The deal will also allow funding to resume for 42 million Americans who receive food assistance, but another shutdown could be looming as the agreement only funds the government through to January the 30th. Also in Washington, the White House downplaying private emails from convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's estate. Among the 20,000 documents released, in several exchanges, Epstein references his friend Donald Trump, casting some scrutiny on their relationship. Joy Malbin has more in Washington.
In newly released emails, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein wrote a New York Times reporter in 2015, suggesting he might have dirt on Donald Trump. Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen? And in 2019, when President Trump was running for re-election, Epstein wrote author Michael Wolff, alleging Trump knew about Epstein's criminal behavior. He wrote, of course he knew about the girls, and he asked Ghislaine to stop. Epstein also confirmed in an email the former Prince Andrew was photographed with one of Epstein's victims, the late Virginia Giuffre, contradicting Andrew's claim that he never met her.
Categorically, I don't remember meeting her at all.
President Trump has denied all allegations of wrongdoing, but his administration continues to push back against releasing the Justice Department's case files, FBI investigations, names, and the scope of Epstein's crimes. Abuse survivors pleading for the truth to come out.
Just rip the Band-Aid off all at once, give the public what they need, and give us what we need, which is transparency. The other survivors, my survivor sisters, they're not going away.
In Washington, the politics are shifting. More Republicans now are joining Democrats demanding full public disclosure of Epstein's crimes.
I would remind my colleagues that this vote is going to be on your record for longer than Trump is going to be president.
The pressure on this White House is not letting up. Democrats now have the numbers to force a vote next week that could lead to the full release of the Epstein files. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Still ahead, if you're heading to Winnipeg, we'll show you all the things you can do at the Grey Cup Festival.
On the road to the Grey Cup, Friday on Your Morning, we'll connect with our friends at TSN to preview Sunday's Grey Cup matchup between Montreal and Saskatchewan.
Jones. He's everywhere. All right, let's take a look at what we can expect for the weather as we inch closer to the weekend. A beautiful night as we take a look outside through your Skycam, brought to you by the Hospitals of Regina Foundation Home Lottery. Absolute deadline is this Friday at midnight, so make sure you get those tickets before then. Currently sitting at 6, warmed up to 9 late this afternoon. Winds just under 25 right now. We could expect to see the winds pick up just a little bit more as we head into tomorrow. Now again, We do have some advisories in the north, well, not advisories, heavy snowfall warnings issued for the north. Areas like Wollaston Lake, Collins Bay, Stony Rapids could see anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters of snow between starting tonight into about tomorrow at noon. So they are expecting a system that's going to come through, a low pressure system. With that low pressure system, we can expect to see some clouds start to roll in. So this is what we're sitting at right now. We've got that system in the north, and eventually late tonight into the early morning hours, we'll start to see that system make its way through, bringing with it cloudier conditions to start your day for most of the province tomorrow. Most of the clouds are probably going to linger around here and there throughout the day, so we will start to see it clearing out early evening, late afternoon, early evening, so you can see there. Along with that, though, there is a little bit of precipitation in the southwest. We could see mixed precipitation because we're still going to continue to see above seasonal temperatures. And then as we head into Saturday, it ends up being a little bit of a mix of sun and cloud for many parts of the province, but again, a little bit more precipitation expected just along the border there in southern Sask. Around the Assiniboia area, could see some mixed precipitation, rain, freezing rain in the area. Now, these systems are quick moving. We won't see them stick around for long, and by the time we head into Saturday evening and into Sunday, we'll start to see conditions clear little, but then there is some snow expected, and we'll talk about that coming up in your 7-day forecast. But as we already saw on the tracker, they're expecting some snow in the north, -4 for La Loche tonight, warming up to -3 tomorrow. That's within that seasonal range, and then we'll just continue to see above seasonal temperatures for many areas. I mentioned earlier the average for this time of year is around 0, so but could, depending on where we are in the province, -1 to +1. So still within seasonal range, even around Prince Albert, 2 degrees tomorrow. But then the closer we get into central southern Saskatchewan, we'll start to see those temperatures get a little warmer. Saskatoon 6 and a mix of sun and cloud, and even the low tonight 6. So really won't see a change in temperature for Saskatoon, but 7 expected for Yorkton, the southwest, 7 and cloudy for Maple Creek, Swift Current, 11 for Moose Jaw in the southeast, a little warmer then, 12 in Estevan and Assiniboia, 10 and cloudy for Weyburn. For Regina tonight, still very much warmer than the average low, which is about -9, -10. We'll be at 5 tonight, and then the winds pick up to about 45 tomorrow. 9 is the expected daytime high, and then as for the next 7 days, this is what we've got going on. So more sunshine expected for Saturday, temperatures at 4 degrees, and then for the game on Sunday, I know we'll be watching in your home or indoors if you are in Regina, but if you are heading into Winnipeg, the driving conditions expected to be quite nice, and then by the time we get into Monday, that's where we start to see a little bit of a change. Monday morning could see mixed precipitation, a slight chance of rain snow mix. 4 degrees still the expected high. By Monday evening, we could start to see some snow. Flurries arriving. By Tuesday, a chance of flurries throughout the day. Both Monday and Tuesday could see anywhere, well, Tuesday we could see 1 to 3 centimeters of snow. By Monday evening, about 1 centimeter of snow, and then we'll be back into seasonal range, especially by the time we get to Thursday. Mostly cloudy and -1. So the good news is, yesterday and even up until this morning, it was looking like we were going to see quite a bit more snow. 10 centimeters Monday night, 10 centimeters by Tuesday morning, and continuing, but obviously systems change and the forecast has also changed, so looking like less snow, but the temperatures are still looking quite nice.
So just maybe 1 centimeter of snow on Monday night, maybe 3 or 4 the day after.
Here we go.
Bit more.
I said
so. How about all together? What are we expecting?
About 1 centimeter Monday, and 1 to 3 centimeters on Tuesday.
Okay. Hopefully we don't get a couple more, because that would give us 6, 7.
Oh, he was waiting for this moment. He was waiting.
The game featuring the Riders and Alouettes on Sunday is the big event at Grey Cup Week in Winnipeg, but it's not the only entertainment for fans. Daniel Halmarson tells us what football fans can expect as they converge onto Manitoba's capital.
Cup weekend in Winnipeg is here, and die-hard CFL fans are showing up in droves.
Go, Riders, go!
While the big game between Saskatchewan and Montreal goes Sunday, there's plenty happening beforehand.
To be able to now invite everybody here, witness our fan base firsthand, and really experience kind of what the Winnipeg CFL market's all about is really special. I'm really excited.
The party starts right at the airport with a group of volunteers putting the friendly in friendly Manitoba, welcoming football fans coming from out of town.
We're feeling just great. Yeah, so for me, it's my 52nd, and Sandy, I guess it's about 30 or 35th Grey Cup game, and the weather's going to be -5, -6, sunny.
The convention center's the place to be for live concerts, team party rooms, and even a chance to catch up with some CFL stars.
See how much fun this actually is, though, to see how much fun that people actually have. You know, I've never seen this side of it. You know, I'm always hyper-focused. Like I said, I've been blessed to be able to play in 5 Grey Cups. Never seen this part of the Grey Cup.
And over at the University of Winnipeg is a free festival with plenty of fun lined up for the whole family.
Go inside and you've got the TELUS CFL fan experience, which is kind of combine-style drills, so you can really test your skills to see if you'd make it in the CFL.
And while some fans have a little more stake in Sunday's championship showdown, they all agree this weekend comes down to a love of the game.
The fact that you can go anywhere and somebody might be rooting for a specific team, but they're all CFL fans.
Just relax and just experience it, because there's a lot going on and everyone's here to have a good time. Doesn't matter what their team colors are.
Coming up, the U of S Huskies are set to host their first national semifinal in 20 years.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
This is U of S Huskies football team is 2 days away from hosting their first bowl game in 20 years. The last time Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon was home to a national semifinal, 2005, when they went on to beat Laval in a nail-biter 29-27. Now, on Saturday, the Huskies will host the Queens Golden Gales in a game to decide who will head to the Vanier Cup here in Regina. Queens finished the season with a 5-3 record, while the Huskies went 7-1 before eliminating UBC and Regina in the playoffs. Huskies head coach Scott Flory says he remembers playing in a bowl game in Saskatoon and what it means to host it.
I mean, we just get the luxury and of not being able to travel and being able to stay home and being able to prep here in, beautiful sunny Griffith Stadium, right? So, not having to go on the road, not having to do a bunch of those things is great. They're going to come in ready to go. I mean, we know Queens is going to be ready to play on Saturday, so it'll be a great game. I know our guys are going to be ready, though, too.
Kickoff for the Mitchell Bowl is Saturday, 2 p.m. at Griffith Stadium, and you can also watch it if you can't get there on cbcsports.ca. Now, while the current U of S Huskies focus on the Mitchell Bowl, former players are getting ready for the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. In fact, both the U of S and U of R Rams are well represented in Winnipeg. Dave Naylor looks at the team's ties to the university programs in their province.
After a 5-year run by the Bombers, it's Saskatchewan's time.
The 112th Grey Cup is more than just a matchup of the best teams from the CFL's East and West divisions. It's also a matchup of teams representing Canada's provinces with the strongest football cultures, from the grassroots right up to the pros. Yes, when it comes to producing football talent, Saskatchewan and Quebec lead the way.
Football is so strong, so prevalent, and it's not only on the island of Montreal, it's across the province.
To go to Regina and just see the culture, and people literally live, eat, breathe, sleep football.
For example, the universities of Montreal and Laval were at the very top of the list of schools producing players across the CFL for this season, while the universities of Saskatchewan and Regina were both in the top 8. A strength reflected by both the universities of Saskatchewan and Montreal reaching the national semifinals in U Sports football this season. And that provincial talent is reflected on the rosters of the teams that have made it to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. The Alouettes have 10 players produced from Quebec programs, a list that includes running back Sean Thomas Erlington and safety Marc-Antoine Dequoy. Meanwhile, the Rough Riders have 7 of their players produced from programs within Saskatchewan, which includes defensive backs Nelson Lacombo and Tavon Campbell. Those provincial connections extend off the field on both teams as well. Alouette General Manager Danny Machocha and Assistant Head Coach Byron Alchambeau are among the staff produced from within Quebec, while for the Riders, Offensive Coordinator Mark Mueller is a former quarterback for the University of Regina Rams.
And I know that when I pick up the phone and I call them, it's time to select a player to wear your jersey.
It's definitely very eye-opening and encouraging to see the football community growing.
On the surface, Saskatchewan and Quebec may seem like two provinces that don't share that much in common. But when it comes to their investment and embrace of the game of football, they very much do.
Still ahead, could farmers be allowed to temporarily use strychnine to handle gophers?
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. The story continues above seasonal temperatures. Now, just slightly north of this, a little bit of a different story. They will be dealing with snow throughout most of the morning, from tonight into the morning. But for central southern Saskatchewan, continue to see a mix of sun and cloud for the most part. Some areas may see a little bit more cloud cover, but many areas across the board here still seeing above zero and above seasonal temperatures. 7 in Wynyard, 6 in Hudson Bay and Watrous, 5 for Outlook. Little cooler in Meadow Lake, Lloydminster area at 0, but again, that is within the average range for this time of year. We'll continue to see warmer conditions as we get closer to the southern border, but more cloud cover rolling in just along with that low pressure system that's bringing the heavy snowfall. 4 in Leader and cloudy, 7 in cloudy for Maple Creek, 8 in cloudy for East End Cypress. But Assiniboia, Rockland, Coronach all expecting to get to 11 tomorrow and 10 for Carlisle. Meanwhile, Kenora 6 with a mix of sun and cloud, and Broadview, Pilot Butte, Lumsden 9 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. If we take a closer look at Bethune, winds picking up to about 50 tomorrow, and we will expect a daytime high of about 8 degrees and mostly cloudy conditions. Now, cloudier conditions, higher winds, that 8 degrees expected will feel closer to about +4 for your daytime high.
Earlier this year, rural municipalities were calling for the return of strychnine. Now, an agricultural group is joining that call, saying it's a key tool in controlling the gopher population. As Stacey Hine tells us, the federal minister of agriculture says he could support an emergency exemption.
What looks like a cute critter to many is a major problem for producers.
Gophers, even though they're small, the damage that they're doing is quite extensive.
The Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan says Richardson ground squirrels, commonly known as gophers, are growing in number, causing significant crop damage and creating burrows that can injure livestock. It's calling for strychnine to be reinstated, saying current pesticides are more expensive and less effective.
That's certainly contributed to the fact that the gopher population has been exploding, and particularly in some areas in the southwest.
The once common pesticide was banned for use on Richardson's ground squirrels in 2023 and banned entirely last year. It has long faced criticism for causing an inhumane death and for the risk it poses to other wildlife.
The poison stays in the system even when the animal's dead, so if it gets eaten, and if the death isn't instant especially, they'll get hunted by another animal and that animal will get poisoned.
Saskatchewan Crop Insurance Corporation says last year it paid about $10.6 million in gopher-related claims on about 123,000 acres, about twice the size of Saskatoon. Last month, Federal Agriculture and Agri-Food Minister Heath MacDonald said he would support an emergency exemption to use strychnine.
Will you support producers or provinces if they apply for the exemption?
Would I?
Yes.
Yes.
The Pest Management Regulatory Agency, which falls under Health Canada, not agriculture, would have the final say on an exemption. APAS calls Minister MacDonald's comments encouraging and says it'll continue to push for an exemption before spring, when gophers begin breeding. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Don't look now, but the countdown is on for Christmas, which means holiday shopping is about to pick up. And even as household budgets have felt the squeeze this year, a new study finds people are prepared to spend more. Laura Woodward has more.
With about 40 days until Christmas and Black Friday around the corner, holiday shopping is picking up.
I've shopped for a couple gifts so far, yes.
The hardest to shop for is probably my cookum, because I don't know what she would want.
The rising cost of living is expected to shape how people spend this year.
There's an unusually high level of stress this year. 57% of Saskatchewan consumers are reporting that they're feeling more stressful than they have since pre-pandemic.
The Retail Council of Canada surveyed 2,500 shoppers across the country and found people are being more strategic with their purchases.
People are very focused on pricing, waiting for sales, comparing prices, looking online.
In Saskatchewan, the Retail Council estimates the average shopper will spend $890 on gifts. That's up 9% from last year and just under the national average. You notice things getting more expensive out there?
Yeah.
Toys, especially toys.
Would that change how much you spend at Christmas?
Yeah, probably. For sure, stuff's more expensive. Yeah.
It's hard to cut. It's hard to cut the kids. I only buy for them, so yeah, a little bit less.
Like, I'll make sure I buy for the grandkids, but if the adults don't get as much, they're adults and they can buy their own stuff.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Stock markets going down today. The TSX dropped by 573 points. The Dow Jones by 797 points. Canadian dollar, it followed the same pattern. It went down between a tenth, to 0.2 cents to 71.28 cents U.S. Commodities, gold down $23.87. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 15 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude dropped by $2.48. So how's that gas looking? Same as it was yesterday, but it did drop earlier on. So it is commonly found in Regina for $1.26.9 per liter.
North American markets are deep in the red today as investors sell off big tech. Investors want to take less risk now that the U.S. government is restarting. There are concerns about all the economic data that has been delayed, like the labor reports, which could show a weakening U.S. economy. That is investors pivoting to steadier stocks. Manulife Financial reported $1.8 billion in net income, down slightly from last year. But the company reported strong earnings per share, which analysts liked. Manulife also announced a partnership in India to launch a life insurance business in that country. Manulife is already in China and the U.S. Atkins Realis reported record revenue of $2.8 billion in its latest quarter. That's up 15% from last year. Atkins Realis provides engineering services. Its nuclear division is fueling much of the growth as countries work on ramping up energy supplies to meet demand. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Hell's Kitchen, followed by 911 Nashville. I wonder what kind of circumstances they're going to have to deal with tonight. An Edmonton man who loves building puzzles doesn't have enough room for his latest creation.
This puzzle is hanging up in the Panama City airport. I wasn't there, but I saw it on a picture. And so when I saw it, I said, well, that's the challenge. Let's try to do that one.
Wow. Rick O'Donnell says this 42,000-piece puzzle took him roughly 800 hours to complete. It was built in 7 sections, and each bag had 6,000 pieces.
I did it in sections on the ping pong table. And so while I'm watching the Oilers game or football or whatever on TV, I was, putzing away at putting together puzzles and sorting out pieces, and, eventually it just comes together.
So the finished piece is more than 7 meters long. He's hoping a school or library will take it off his hands and mount it on a wall.
That's not the biggest puzzle, though. The biggest puzzle is trying to figure out why the Oilers suck so bad to start a season every year. It's brutal.
The jackpot in a lottery stateside is approaching $1 billion.
I'd be happy too if I won that.
And tonight's enhanced Mega Millions.
For Friday's Mega Millions draw, $965 million. Nobody matched the numbers last night. The estimated cash payout, if you just want to cash right now when you win it, $445.3 million.
I'd take that.
Friday's draw will be the 40th since the last win on June 27th, a game record. The odds of winning are 1 in more than 290 million, but the odds of winning any Mega Millions prize, the simplest ones, 1 in 23.
Real quick, I know I'm going to regret this. What's the first thing you would do if you won the lottery?
I would say, yay.
$65 million. Good luck.
I don't regret it.